Speaking of your children, if you have plans to send them to school, college, private school, what have you, you've probably run the numbers. It ain't so easy. Tommy Schultz is the CEO of the American Federation for Children, and he's got something very cool to share with you, the AFC Scholarship Fund. Good morning, sir. Thanks for joining us.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
So first on this scholarship fund, is it just for higher education, or is this something that students can take advantage of and parents can take advantage of at all levels of education?
No, this is specifically for K through 12, and it's partly been created to help service and implement what we think is the biggest expansion of school choice in American history when President Trump signed into the One Big Beautiful Bill, the Working Families Tax Cut.
Yeah.
A little-known provision in there. It's a tax credit for donations to scholarship groups. So under the current laws in the IRS right now, you can make a donation to a 501c3 charity, and you would get a tax deduction for making that contribution. Now this new change to the law says that up to $1,700 of your contribution can be a dollar-for-dollar tax reduction. So basically, let's say you owed the federal government $2,000 in income taxes. If during the year 2027 you had donated $1,700 to a 501c3 charity that gives out scholarships, you can actually only owe the federal government just $300 in income taxes. So this dollar-for-dollar reduction is going to be able to help fuel billions of dollars in scholarships all across the country. And there's just a lot of geographies that do not have scholarships available in an independent fashion outside of the schools that you may go to. And we want to make sure that all 50 states can take advantage of this law. So we're super excited to start the scholarship organization to service this new federal tax credit.
I'm excited to hear about this. So there's an input angle and an output angle. So that's the input, and it's great. That's a great tax benefit to get a dollar-for-dollar tax benefit, because most charitable contributions, it's a percentage or a ratio of your adjusted gross income, or it reduces your adjusted gross income. So that's a direct tax credit. What about the output? What if I'm a parent and I want to be able to see if I qualify for one of these scholarships?
Yeah, basically, in the law, the qualifications say that, roughly speaking, just rather than going into the complicated formula, 90% of Americans are going to be eligible to take one of these scholarships. It's basically the first 90% of the incomes across the country. There will be formulas out there, and we'll be able to handle that pretty easily when parents apply to us, and we do an income verification once the law comes online, January 1, 2027. But the other kind of quirk of this law is that governors have to opt into this. So the governors must tell Treasury that the scholarship groups in their states actually are taking tax credit donations. Thankfully, at least for kind of the listeners in your neck of the woods, Virginia, Governor Youngkin did an early opt-in right before he went out the door, and we are on the list as one of the approved scholarship groups. There's others on the list, too. You can check out our website, afcscholarshipfund.org, and ultimately what this is going to mean, though, every governor, even the Democratic governors, are going to look at this and go, what this tax credit does is makes it so that local and national scholarship groups can operate within our state. If a governor doesn't opt in, think of this, Larry, basically donors in that state are still eligible to contribute, but their money will just have to go out of state. So let's say you're in California and the governor of California doesn't opt in. All it means is that Californians are going to be sending their money to Texas or to another red state, right? So at the end of the day, I think a lot of governors are going to say this is a no-brainer. Even Democratic Governor Jared Polis has already opted in. He's the first Democrat through the door on that one. So I think this is going to be the golden age of American education coming forward, because at the end of the day, billions of dollars are going to be raised from private donors into K through 12 education to help fund scholarships for needy children.
Well, let's hope that, Governor Wes Moore in Maryland, where I am and my kids are going to school, will be listening to this. When it comes to how the money can be spent, so families apply for the scholarships, walk us through what educational expenses they can use the scholarship towards.
Sure. That's going to be up to the scholarship groups to determine, but the law outlines a pretty broad range of expenses from it can be for private school tuition, it can be for tutoring, it can be for other approved educational expenses under the Coverdell law, which again includes things like, special needs services and some educational tech. But our scholarship group, and I think most scholarship groups, are really going to be focusing on the core aspects and the core needs that, nearly all families are going to be seeking, which is going to be scholarships for tuition, probably tutoring. Homeschool stipends are going to be another kind of aspect that we hope Treasury addresses and clarifies, but homeschool students, the intent of the law was to make every single student eligible to receive scholarship funding. So big things afoot. Each scholarship group is going to have their own kind of particular policies about how they do things. But we want to help as many students as possible, particularly lower income, middle income families, because as you said in the preamble, that they're the ones that would love to go to private school. And many schools, many states have state level scholarship programs, state level school choice policies. But there's a lot of families that are still stuck in the middle in places where you maybe don't have a state either voucher or tax credit scholarship or education savings accounts program. This finally can bring that to every single state where every family can finally get access to the school of their choice.
Great stuff, Tommy Schultz. My gosh, this is great. Something that I didn't know about, and I dove deep on the big beautiful bill, but this skipped right by me, and it's something that everybody should learn about. So it's American Federation for Children. If you want details, I've just signed up to get more information on it because I'm about to be a grandfather. AFCScholarshipFund.org. It's AFCScholarshipFund.org. Tommy, keep us updated, especially on that homeschool component. We got to get that going. Thanks, Tommy.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Tommy.
Thanks for having me.